Hey, you ever been to Chancellor Park? That's where I live. My name is Tavin Dillard. I live in Chancellor Park. I mow lawns, mowing, edging, grass cutting legend. I sure am glad to join me here on this podcast. I want to let you know what's going on in my neck of the woods. Now, I started out years ago on the YouTubes and then the TikToks and the Instagrams now and the whatnots. I got the websites, the tavindillard.com, but right now, I want to clue you into what's happening in my neck of the woods on the Tavin Dillard podcast. You here? I'm here. I'm glad you joined me. Now I'm going to send it over to myself. This is like the pre-introduction, but let's get on to the real show today. I'm glad you joined me here. Bank, bank. Hey, y'all guys. Welcome to Season 8's Episode 16's the very last episode of this season of the Tavin Dillard podcast. And we always end with the Q&A. The Q is for questions, and the A is for them answers that come through from me, and the questions, they come from y'all guys. So I hope you're doing well. I hope January has been off to a good start, and you've been having a good New Year's, as they say. It's a real New Year's at this point. Real New Year's. Well, not a lot new yet this year. I mean, there were some new Tavin's Lawn Care Services stickers that came out. You know, mowing, edging, grass cutting legend for your water bottles or your gymnasium locker or wherever else you put stickers. Your laptop computers and that kind of thing. So anyhow, you can check out in the show notes today. I'll just put a link to, you know, kind of the page on my website that's got the stickers and stuff, and then you know, them shirts. The crow Funyun is flying off the shelves, as they say, the wings of a bird, and them kind of things. But it's been a good start to the new year. But now we starting the year, but we wrapping up a season of the podcast. So I don't know. Maybe we just get right into it today, and then next week, a week from today, we launch Season 9. And I'm excited about that. So there's no particular order, just kind of folks came in and dropped in questions, and I tried to organize them here. So here's the deal. I will say this much about the Q&A today is I think I got everybody's question. Unless you sending it in, you know, right now when I'm recording it. I tried to get everybody's. There's not nobody's I skipped that I know of, at least, like that away. So let's get started. I don't know how long this is going to take because, you know, I ain't read, you know, thoroughly every single question. They just kind of got lined up here. So, question number 1 from your old friend Trisha. Hey Trisha. She says, hey Tavin, do you answer all your own fan mail or do you have help? I don't want you getting too big for your britches. Just kidding. Bank, bank. Okay, so I guess if I had help, I'd be too big for my britches, Trisha saying, if I had like an assistant. And I know folks, when I text message folks back, they want to know if this is really Tavin, and I say, yeah, man, I can't afford no robot. So I do, Trisha, answer all my own fan mail. I don't have help. I don't know. Will there be a time I need help? I don't know what fan mail help would look like. But nope, this is me answering you. Appreciate you, Trisha. Thanks for sending in the question, and thanks for listening to the Tavin Dillard podcast. Renee from Tennessee. You did an awesome job announcing the championship softball game. Have you ever thought about career announcing sports? Does anyone announce your softball games? That's good questions, Renee. Well, you guys, y'all know that Team Burger Shed, we took the championship for the Adult Softball League back in the falls. I ain't never thought about a career in announcing sports. Now, sometimes if we go to the rodeo or something, or I'm somewhere where I ain't the one participating, you know, in the sport. I'm the one just watching. You like, what do you call, you a fan? Or, you know, you just watching. You the eyeballs in the stands, but you ain't trying to play. I do find myself saying, well, look at him taking that corner. He's coming around that this way, and I'm going on. I gotta, and all that, you know, that, you talk about, look, what you see happening. You just say what you see happening. And I know some folks say I sound a little bit like an auctioneer. So I was like, well, maybe I could do that. You know, my friend Junior Staggs, he's an auctioneer. He's giving me some scripts. They got what they call auctioneer scripts to learn. But as far as me announcing sports, I ain't never thought of it. And don't nobody announce our softball games. Sometimes JT Whitlow's girlfriend, Whitney, she'll show up, but she just bring an air horn, and she'll just say, like, go team, and then hit that air horn. And she do it enough where folks either ask her to leave or they take the air horn from her. And then my Meemaw show up, but she don't know much about the game. Usually that's when we playing Thunder Punch, and Coach Hicks is on the other team, and she got a crush on him, which is gross. So that's all I'll say about that, Renee, because I'm starting to get myself sick. But no, I don't. But that's a good question. Maybe I should think about that, especially them winter sports, because, when the lawns die, I got to find other work to do, which I have this winter. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Brian R., since you have so much experience handling battles between Meemaw and Mabel Childress, would you be willing to broker a deal, with all the world conflicts, Ukraine, Israel, stuff like that? Seems like you might have skills to talk them into a peace deal. Well, I'll tell you this, Brian, the Meemaw and Mabel, somebody else got a Meemaw and Mabel question coming up too, but it's a lot about listening. It's a lot about listening. Usually in a conflict, somebody wants to just say their way. And they did this, and they did that, and you do this. And then the other person ain't want to listen. They just want to say, well, you did this, and you did that, and I'll get you in a chokehold, and I'll get you in an arm bar. And then once you're in a half Nelson, good night kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of listening to be had. But, boy, you try to tell Meemaw and Mabel to listen. They don't listen. They too busy talking and jawing at you. Thanks for the question, Brian. John Cook. Hey, buddy. John says, I have 3 kids. Where's the best spot for hiding snacks? One can climb pretty well. No counter too tall. No shelf too high. Good at opening child lock cabinets. Pro jumpers for sure. What do I do? Well, John, that's a good question. There's a couple options. You got a car? If you got a car, you put your food in the trunk. Okay? Like that away. I mean, you just have to figure out how to get out there. When the kids aren't there, you drive to a parking lot 3 miles away, open your trunk to get your snacks. Come back with a little, Funyun crumbs on your fingers. They might know, but they don't care. I mean, the snacks is gone at that point. You got your snack. The other thing is, it's the hide it in plain sight kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, if there's a lock on the door, they say, boy, there's probably something back there I want on that child lock kind of thing. Or what's so high where my daddy'd hide it up high. But, I mean, you keep it right under their nose. Another thing is you empty out them old vegetable bags like frozen peas, and then you put the stuff in there. And they see them bags, they're like, I don't want no frozen peas, but your snacks is in there. Of course, if you're keeping them in the freezer, then you might have some cold snacks, so you got to think about that. But that's just to get you started, John. You sound like you a pretty good pro at being a daddy, so you can take it from there. Thanks for the question. Now, Bobby Merle, what do you think about the new Hardee's candied bacon? Have you tried it? I think anytime. First of all, Bobby's got 2 questions, but I'm going to answer the bacon one first. What do I think about Hardee's candied bacon? Anytime a place tries to bring more bacon on the menu, that ain't a bad thing. That ain't a bad thing. Now, I'm not a fan of like a bacon milkshake, which I think Sonic tried, but I ain't saying they shouldn't try it because it is bacon. And then the other answer to the question about the Hardee's candied bacon, I ain't tried it yet. I ain't tried it, so I can't speak to the taste of it, but I know that bringing bacon onto the menu in another way, ain't nothing to be mad at about that. I got them Tavin's Bacon bags, and Bacon Boise, they, other than the Tavin, flavor that they sell, they got like hot and spicy bacon bags they sell, and they got a candied bacon bag they sell. And I tried these, and it's good. Sweeter. If you like a sweeter bacon. Some folks don't. Now, I don't need candied bacon because at the end of a meal, when I'm eating, the bacon, much like the biscuit, is nature's napkin. And I just wipe the bacon through whatever syrup's left. And boy, that's a good combo right there. All right, Bobby, your other question is, Brett seems to be handy when it comes to the remote control cars. Has he any interest in being a mechanic? Thanks, bye. Well, bye, Bobby. I don't think he has no interest in being a mechanic. He'll talk to you about it. Brett talk a lot. He got big dreams, big ideas, very, very little and very poor execution of them ideas. I think actually fixing a car would take so much focus that he would give up, a few minutes in. But he ain't got no problem taking things apart. And he could tinker with it, he just got to make up his mind to stay on task. And that's where I think Brett might come up short. That's the way I see it, though. Keith D., are you and Cricket ever going to get serious and get married? Well, Keith, I think we're serious. And I reckon we might get married. It might be something we need to talk about this year. You know, for a while I was trying to save up for a Ford Ranger. Somebody asked about that, and I still am. And I'm really thinking this might be my year to get a truck. You know, and you know, there's a lot to be said about a bicycle, and for strengthening my haunches, to, you know, burn some calories on the way to donut goals. But this might be the year I get a truck, and, you know, big things might happen. That's all I got to say about that, Keith. Thanks for the question. Barb, did you arrest Delma Spencer when she shoplifted at the Walmart's rollback sale? Is there a Mr. Spencer around? If so, does he have a job? Where do you buy gas for your lawn equipment? Thank you. Well, Barb, that wasn't Delma Spencer at the rollback sale. That was Cindy Meidel. Cindy Meidel pretended to be a blind lady. She put on them big old sunglasses like you do if you can't see. And she had a retired firehouse dog that she took in there like that away. So Cindy Meidel, but I didn't arrest her. I did pepper spray that dog in his good eye because he's the one that had all the goods on him. That's what I was trained. You know, I didn't know what else to do. And then they ended up saying, you can't pepper spray no dog. And they took away my pepper spray for a couple months, I think. Is there Mr. Spencer around? Delma got a husband. She married a feller that had a kiddo. She got a stepson, and she got probably 8 of her own now. He has had jobs. He's very much like a guy that will, you know, if Chet Dilroy needs help out on his property. Oh, I hired him, you know, to move some of this old tracker equipment. I hired him. Like, he ain't a full-timer at nothing that I know of, but he's a half-timer at everything. So I get gas right now where I get the gas for my lawn equipment, Barb. The repair shed out by Fishing Clips where Rance Farnhart works. Donnie Wayne Chambliss run that repair shed, and he fixed all kind of motors, and he started carrying gasoline out there. And he a friend, so I just started giving him business. Of course, I got to get out there, and that's outside of town, so I got to time it pretty good. But if I run out, there's a gas station right there on the corner of Main Street coming into town I go to. Thanks for the questions, Barb. Lon K. says, Lon K's from Berkeley, Michigan. They just won a football game. Just how did the feud between your Meemaw and Mabel Childress get started? Lon asked. How long has it been going on? Well, Lon, I do remember they played softball together when I was little, and they had to get along well enough, you know, to finish a game and work together to beat the other teams. But somewhere along the way, you know, about that time or shortly thereafter, there were some heated arguments. There's rumors. It's one of those things I don't know if either of them remember no more. It's like the Hatfields and the McCoys. It's like, well, we got to keep fighting at this point. I don't know if they like the same feller. I know they like the same feller now. I can't believe I mentioned that twice already in this podcast. It's grossing me out. But Coach Hicks, they water aerobics instructor. You know, he run Thunder Punch. He's my high school PE teacher. He ran to Long John Silver's in County next over. I had enough money when I was in high school to have a double cab truck with air conditioner. So he's a businessman, and apparently Meemaw and Mabel really like him. So I don't know what started it, Lon, but what keeps it going is anything, just seeing each other. So it's been going on a number of years. And then Lon just says, thanks for the laughs, buddy. They really get me through the week. Well, Lon, I appreciate you. I'm glad you enjoying the podcast and the videos, and I hope you keep tuning in. Graham Bryant, who's your best friend either in Chancellor Park or in general? Well, Graham, I think I answered this one before, but you know, as the seasons go on, folks, you ain't heard every answer I ever gave, and I understand that. But Russell Tucker, we growed up together. So Russell Tucker probably be my best friend. And then all the fellas, you know, on the softball team, we get along well enough. You know, Myron Curtis, Mort Dwidell, J.T. Whitlow, Rance Farnhart, Rusty Tidwell, Brody Childress, you know, we buddies. We ain't best friends, nothing like that. Ricky Briggs is a good fella. He drives a trash truck in town. His little brother, Cody Briggs, he was on our softball team at one point too. Let's see. Graham got another question though. Also, are you saying, you keep saying Bud's Burger is the sponsor of your softball team. How's he a sponsor if he made you pay for them uniforms without a discount and doesn't supply any monetarily value to your team or give a discount to you or your team members at Burger Shed? Well, some of what you asked, that is true. Firstly, we was chest naked when we first started our softball team. We weren't even called Team Burger Shed. And so we needed clothing, you know, like food, clothing, shelter are the essentials. Well, we had food. at the concession stand, we had shelter in the dugout, but we didn't have clothing. And I thought, well, I like Bud's anyway. Basically I'd advertise for him for free. Turns out I do. So that's that. Now, Bud has gave us discounts. There's times he'll just bring a sack of curly fries to the field and say, hey, fellas, here you go. It's on the house kind of thing. And there's times he's giving us like free milkshake once we buy the meal, kind of thing. He a businessman, and he ain't never sponsored nothing before. So maybe he didn't know how it goes, and I didn't either. So we was all happy with the understanding that we came about with. So that's that. Okay, Jennifer Williams. She says, since there ain't a whole lot of lawns to mow during the winter, what do you do to supplement your incomes this time of year? Also, Merry Christmas to you and yours. So some of these questions were sent in before the Christmas times. I had a Merry Christmas. Hope you did too. Hope all y'all did. What do I do? Okay, well, it changed. I have volunteered at the nursing home, but the key word there is volunteer. Well, there's times now, this winter, they'll pay me a little bit of jingle to help organize some of them events. Supervise. I don't know if you call it chaperone. So I made a little money doing that. But then also, much like Delma Spencer's husband, I will go around and I will like Bud has paid me to do some stuff around a burger shed, just kind of clean up things. Folks that I work for, like Imogene and Raymond Watkins, they gonna want me to help put away their Christmas decorations in the storage and clean up their yards. And, taking Christmas lights down, that's one thing. Of course, a lot of people in my town leave them up all year, but those that don't. So, you just find odds and ends. Cheryl Grubbs needed some help at Donut Goals with some cleaning things and different things like that. So, I make sure that I keep that jangling kind of thing. Sometimes I sell things too. You gotta sell things. I've auctioned off some of my art on the eBay. I don't think I did it at all in 2023, but maybe 2024 I'll auction off some of my art. Thanks for the question, Jennifer. Richard, Melbourne, Australia. That's where Richard's from. He says, I love your educational softball show. Well, thanks, Richard. I didn't know I had one, but I guess I do talk a lot about softball here, though, during the season. I mean, it's a big part of the day and big part of the life. Richard said, I finally caught up in season 8, so that's right now, this is season 8, and can just sneak in a couple questions that have been burning. The softball confuses me. How is it scheduled? Does everyone play on Thursdays? If not, why do you only play on Thursdays? How many games happen on a Thursday? I played a social brand, indoor soccer, and knowing when the game was on was very important, so it must consume your mind too. Oh yeah, it's a pretty simple schedule, Richard. We got not the biggest town you ever seen, so there's one adult softball game a week on Thursdays. There's 3 fields at the fields, but the little leagues have one. Sometimes, especially during tournament play, they'll double up and have 2 adult softball league games playing at the same times. They always Thursday, but playoffs ain't. Sometimes playoffs are Thursdays, sometimes they're Fridays, sometimes they Saturdays. Most always at night times though, because even on a Saturday you got little leagues running them fields. Okay, I hope that helps, and thanks for watching, Richard, and I hope your soccer team was good. Nick from Dorset. Just wondering if any of the trailer parks strings up lights and has any Christmas figurines, and do they have any Christmas figurines on their porches to celebrate the holidays? It's now become a thing here in the UK, but nothing like you do in the US of A. Well, Nick from Dorset, there are lights up in Chancellor Park. JT Whitlow has some on. Ron Dirtle, he's up front. He somebody got a question about the trailer park later. I may talk more about Ron, but he up there, he keeps some up. And there's a few, that keep them up all year long. I don't have any Christmas lights up. I will put some things on the porch kind of thing, a little snowman. Stuff gets broke or stole or both, like a little snowman or a little figurine. That would end up either as a weapon in a wrestling match or the opponent in a wrestling match. Somebody take that snowman, they'll DDT him, that kind of thing. But yeah, they definitely in town though, outside of Chancellor Park, outside the trailer park, there's folks that put Santa Clauses out, the nativity sets with Mary and Joseph
and the wise men, and like a donkey and the sheep and the baby Jesus and all that. So it's for sure. There are things. It's basically like a production in some folks' yards and porches. 100%. Okay, Granny D from Oregon. This question may have been asked. Does Rachel Christine get her hair done at Early Bird Gets the Worm? Early Bird Gets the Perm is where Meemaw goes, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. What style does Meemaw expect the gals down there to perform on her favorite doll? No, she don't do that. She don't trust them with Rachel Christine. So if anybody's getting their hair done, if Rachel Christine is, Meemaw's the one doing it. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not, truth be told, Granny D. Does she like having her hair wet and having her hands rubbed on her head? And then Granny wishes me a joy-filled 20 out 24. Thanks, Granny. Rachel Christine, Meemaw said she do like them scalp massages, but and Meemaw kind of got nubby fingernails because she bite her nails, but she said Dims works the best on them scalp massages. You can really dig in like that away. So Rachel Christine do like that. She don't get trusted. Early Bird Gets the Perm don't get trusted with Rachel Christine's head yet. So I don't know if that's going to change this year. I doubt it. But Rachel Christine's, her hair, it gets brushed so much, all them other baby dolls is jealous. I'm surprised Meemaw's hair ain't jealous. Meemaw brush hers more than she brush her own. But Meemaw do go to Early Bird Gets the Perm. Get a little hairdo down there. Hey, Dave from Alabama's here. We met in Newkirk, Oklahoma last July, he says. Dave, I appreciate you being at the show. That was a hoot of a show. Thank y'all for coming out. Dave says, you are a multi-sport athlete with softball, ramping, cannonballing, wrestling, etc. To my surprise, while you mentioned someone else bowling once, you have never indicated you bowl, nor have you told us any stories from the local alley. There must be a gold mine activity from your and other experiences there. You know, I did shoot a video once at a bowling alley, and I talked about the bowling alley, but that had to be probably, I'm going to say 2007, 2008, 2007, right around there. So it's been over 10, 15 years since I talked about the bowling alley. So you're right. I ain't been much of a bowler. I get my hand on a bowling ball though. I do pretty good. Y'all guys know I'm a lefty. I can spin that thing just easy like right down there. So yeah, I may have to visit the bowling alley more this year. And there ain't one in our town, but I mean, you can go 20 minutes and get to one. And so I may have to do that. But it's what it is. It's more expensive than some sports, but cheaper than others. You know what I mean? Like some sports, they seem to get real expensive. Like I heard about golfing, you got to buy your own clubs. People get their own clothes, their own golf pants, their own golf shoes. You got to pay for what they call fees, like green fees or something every time you go. It ain't like, oh, okay, I've been here before, they know me, and they just let me come on here. And bowling's a little bit like that. Except the bowling alley, what I like is they got everything for you. You just show up with your money and your strength. And they give you shoes, they give you a ball. You got to give them back at the end. But I do like that about it. Like you ain't got to keep a lot of stuff, but it can be a little pricey depending on how many games you're going to play too. Or how long you're going to be there and how much food you're going to eat. Because that's half the fun at bowling. It's having them nachos right there. Thanks for the question, Dave. Eric Rasmussen, what foods do I need to get ready for the softball season? I think I'm going to play left field. Well, Eric, left field, I would say, I spent a lot of time in right field, but left field, I would say, for sure, you're going to need protein. And so what you want to look at is anything that's double up in the burger department. I would recommend bacon double cheeseburger. The bacon adds more protein and strength, and with the cheese, hold it together, and it's good for strong grips on the ball. So if you need to grab the ball and then you got to release it, the cheese will help you hold on to it and even catch it. Hold on to it in your glove, and then the bacon and the double patties will help you throw it so hard and so accurately where you throwing folks out at home plate. So I would go with that, Eric, and you should be good to go. Let me know how you do. Mario, who taught you how to cut the lawn? And how do you? I was reading this, Mario, like you were accusing me. But when somebody send you a message, you don't know how they talking. But I just went right into Mario's like, who taught you how to cut that lawn? But that might not have been how he asked it. And do you have any plans for some training in the lawn cutting business, either on the technical part or the administrative part? Of course, in order to offer your customer the best service. Well, I could do, I guess, some how-to videos on, how to aerate the lawn and reseed it and water it and, basically till it up, and get it ready. There's all time, what seasons, how often do you water, those kind of things. I could, maybe I should, but I don't. Who taught me how to? How I learned to cut a lawn was this school called the School of Hard Knocks. I just figured it out, and then people that had nice lawns, I was like, how'd you do that? And then they'd tell me, folks in town, and then some folks got old enough to where like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I already told you how to do it, Tavin, why don't I hire you? So that's kind of how it's gone, just kind of learned, and then, on the interwebs now, they got the YouTubes, people look up and you learn about your different area and region, on what the best, maybe grass to plant, when to plant, how much to water, that kind of thing. Thanks for the question, Mario. Mike Willis, Lake Butler, Florida. Tavin, here's a couple questions I have. What did you give Cricket for Christmas? Good question. I got Cricket a gift basket. Now, it wasn't one that you just buy off the store wrapped in cellophane. Like I found a basket. I guess it's closer to an Easter basket. And I put some of her favorite candy in it, which is Milk Duds. And then I got her a scarf that said, I like to farm, because her family owns a farm. I didn't write it on there. It was one that was already embroidered or whatever. And I don't know. It was Gracie Dilroy's sister, Delandra. She had all these crafts. I don't know if she made it or if she just a middle lady. But anyways, Cricket got a scarf, some Milk Duds, a basket, and then, just a handwritten coupon that I'd take her and her mom into the outlet mall sometime this year. Of course, I had to borrow a car, so it ain't the best gift, but Meemaw let me go, but then Meemaw would invite herself, so we'll see. What did Cricket get me for Christmas? Cricket got me, I guess she pitched in. I got a remote control car, and the fellas bought it, but I guess it's Cricket's idea, and then she said she's going to get me a couple extra batteries, so, if one of them goes down, I can be charging it, or if one of them just die, then I got another one. So, and that remote control car, y'all guys, is still working. I ain't broke it yet. Kind of surprised. Are you close to having enough for the Ford Ranger? There you go. There's the question. So, I'm getting a little bit closer, and then I found a different truck, and I may have to talk to y'all guys about that. It's older than the 93 Ford Ranger, but it might be a good one. And I got my eye on it this year, because sometimes I was like, I decided before, this is the truck I want. I got to wait for it to come up to sale. Now I've seen one that's for sale. Now I seen it. I'm like, well, maybe that's the one I want. So we'll see, Mike. Appreciate you. Thanks for the questions. All right, Joey Fitzgerald. My brother Steve and I are having a problem in our trailer park. We have had some sort of souped-up wildcat chasing all the neighborhood kids. Hey, you can only chase if you get chased if you running. So, I mean, them kiddos need to get a rake and turn around and face down this wildcat. That's the way I say it. But I don't know if that's your question. Let me read here. What we have done so far to help the problem is threw a net over it, and which was an ordeal itself. Then my brother Steve got his head in a tow sack and trimmed his nails. Pretty hard to do if you ever try to trim what I think is a bobcat's nails. Let's see. For now, the neighborhood kids can climb a tree to get away from the unpleasant cat. Well, cats, some of them, I think they can get up them trees. Didn't know if you ever had this problem at Chancellor Park. If so, any recommendations? Because me and my brother Steve did get pretty ate up doing it our ways. Thanks for the help. Well, Joey, you welcome. I think one thing is if the kids could learn to, you got to make yourself bigger. You heard about that with bears too. Make yourself bigger. And if any of them know how to do a suplex, I mean, there ain't a wildcat that I've ever heard of that come back around after being suplexed. So I think if you could just do a little wrestling training for a little bit, all of a sudden you don't have to worry about having to climb a tree or get a bobcat's head in a tow sack, because what'll happen is the bobcat will see you and be like, nah, there's somewhere else I can go today. I don't need to get suplexed, kind of thing. So that's what I do, Joey. Mr. Reagan, what's the closest Chancellor Park has come to implementing a homeowners association, the HOAs? Well, we ain't never come too close, but Ron Dirtle, who's the manager, he do collect rent, and he also, has some sort of like, okay, here's some rules. And we say, listen here, Ron, you came here after all of us. So we'll just give you a set of the rules, and then we can talk about how you want to handle that. So that's about, somebody got to be there to kind of help manage some things. But as far as like, don't paint your, trailer a certain color. Don't spray paint your trailer. Don't spray paint the washing machine in front of your trailer. We don't have any of that. So, just however you need to do it. But we will say, if it get to be a problem where somebody can't get out of their front door because they stacked up so much junk, it's like, well, that's on you. And then they realize, boy, I should downsize, kind of thing. Crochet. Just wondering if you and Cricket have a song y'all consider your song. Well, it was Baby Shark. She really liked that, but we both got annoyed with that so much we ain't got one. Maggie's Flowers in town had a really good jingle years ago. Now, I mean, that's when the Tasty Freeze was still in business. That's before Buds really started doing business. And it was, if you got a sweetheart and you want to make them smile, stop on down to Maggie's Flowers, sniff and stay a while. We got daisies, roses, tulips, pretty as can be. Maggie's Flowers right on Main Street next to the Tasty Freeze. But the Tasty Freeze is gone there. Maggie's Flowers is still there, though. They don't use that jingle no more. Thanks for the question, Crochet. Melissa Harrison, I know that your trailer park is named Chancellor Park. I was wondering if the town, so now I'm reading Melissa's like it's a crime drama. But I don't know if that's how she wrote it, but I just got into it. I know that your trailer park is named Chancellor Park. I was wondering if the town where all the stores are has a name. Also, has Mima ever tried to freeze her Snickers before she eats them? They are delicious. Love your podcast, Instagram. Thanks, Melissa. Hey, well, yeah, Chancellor Park's a trailer park I live in. Some folks think it's the name of my town, but it's the name of my trailer park. The name of the town, I ain't ever said it. I ain't never said it in any podcast episode or any video that I've ever done. Now, the thing about it is, Mima is scared of paparazzis. And those are folks that hear about your town and they come to your house and they take your picture. And so I ain't ever said the town name. Now, when it comes to the Snickers, she can't let them sit long enough to freeze, Melissa. If she got a Snicker, it ain't going to be long before it get ate. And so that's how that go. But I think she would like a cold one. Maybe in the summertime. Maybe if you give her, 3 king-size Kit Kat, or not, well, she liked the Kit Kats too, but king-size Snicker bars, and put one in the freezer so while she distracted with the other 2, that one's getting cold. I mean, that could work. I don't know. Thanks for the question, Melissa. Ashley Davidson, can we hear a funny story about Myron Curtis and the snack delivery job? And can we also hear a funny story about PJ McGee? Thanks so much for all the laughs. You brighten my day. Bank. Thanks, Ashley. Well, PJ, I've told a story about PJ before. I'll tell that real quick in a second here. Myron Curtis, snack delivery job. Well, the thing about Myron is he got a truck full of snacks. And so, he'll stop somewhere and he got to unload snacks, for a gas station or a store or something. But, he's still got, so sometimes he's had to do these things where he offers somebody like, hey, for a bag of barbecue twists, can you keep an eye on this truck while I run in here and dolly in this delivery? If it's a more high trafficked place, some of them country stores, you just run in and do the thing. But, so he did that one time, but he came out and that kiddo wasn't there. And he's like, well, I guess it's fine. Like the kiddo's gone. He probably just walked away with the thing, and he just loaded up a snack. And boy, he drove 20 miles. Then he drove 30 miles. 35 mile one day, and at his next stop, he opened the back, and I tell you what, that little kiddo was back in that thing. I don't know how many wrappers. He had crawled in the back of that thing, and Myron didn't know he was back there. And so, like, Myron can give away, like, I guess, a bag of chips. Like, he got some little giveaways and freebies, but he had to pay some money. And he talked to the folks' parents, and they're like, we'll give you a little bit of money, but what are you doing letting our kid crawl in the back of your snack truck? Got into one of those things like, basically, you kidnapped. Now you asking us to pay for everything my kid ate? And they did a little bit because they got it, but then Myron backed down a little bit and paid some himself. And that's crazy, though. But, Myron try to be a little more attentive, but he still ain't the most attentive in the world. PJ McGee. He work for the city. I work for the residents. You know, I just get my own customers. He mowed the city fields. Any contracts the city have, he do a riding lawnmower. But he got sick one day. He's eating a bologna sandwich. I guess he made, or his wife made, doubled up on the bologna. Looked pretty good. And then he goes, I'm not feeling too good, Tab. And I was on a lunch break. I seen him. We just talking at one of them picnic tables in the park. And he's gone so long. Like, I went to that park bathroom to check on him. You know, PJ. Didn't hear nothing. PJ! Because I know there ain't no, like, a back door to the toilets. Like, you got to go in and out the same way. He ain't never come out. Well, I went in there, and I kid you not, I guess he got so hot, he was asleep underneath a park urinal with his face pressed against that cold concrete floor. I was like, PJ, what are you doing? You dead? And he opened his eyes. He goes, it's so cool down here, Tavin. I just need to cool off a little bit. Buddy, you know you're sick. If you so hot and you so tired that you're going to press your cheek against the concrete underneath the stainless steel urinal in a park bathroom. So there's your PJ McGee story, Ashley. And I hope none of y'all was eating lunch when you listened to that one. Amy Hayward, do the crows ever bring gifts for Candy Dilroy like the crows do sometimes? Well, here's the deal, Amy. They don't yet, because what she does, she done caught them before. You know, she want to have tea parties with them. She want to put bonnets on them. So that ain't how you make friends with a crow. Like, crows you make friends with, they want to bring you stuff. I will say this year, I'm working on being friends with a crow. I'm trying to work smarter and not harder. And I'm hoping Candy don't work against me like Attaway, because I would love for a crow to bring me a surprise. And I'll give them a Funyun for it, kind of thing. I don't know what they'd bring me, but I sure want to find out. So stay tuned, Amy. Hopefully this year brings some crow gifts, as they say. Leanne Broom, Central South Carolina. Happy New Year, Tavin. Happy New Year, Leanne. I just love your podcast. Thank you. I appreciate y'all listening. I listen every Tuesday, and it's a bright spot in my week. Well, I hope you're enjoying today's, because I'm talking about you, Leanne. Well, I'm answering your question at least. Thanks for bringing some smiles to your listeners' faces. You're welcome. Okay, here we go. Now, I know you busy with your mowing lawn care business, softball, cannonballs, no pro fishing during the warmer months. Can you tell us some of your favorite pastimes during the winter months? Does it snow or ice where you live? Can't wait to hear how you stay busy during the cold months. Well, Leanne, that's a good question. We done ice blocking before. Myron Curtis got into some ice blocking where you get on a cold piece of ice, and basically the block of ice is your sled. It ain't the best idea. I mean, you got to sit on a incline, and then the ice, you just ride it down like you on a Bronco or whatever. It's like a sled, except it freezes, and then it's cold. It's like a really cold sled. So the more I say it out loud, the crazier it sounds. But we do that sometimes. I am supposed to go to the snow here in the next month or so with some folks, so I'll let you know how that goes. I'll update you on the podcast for the snow trip. That's coming up. It's a little bit of a drive. Sometimes it freezes here in Arkansas. It also, frost. It can get pretty cold, below freezing for sure in the winter months. If a pond freezes over, some folks like to, try to not like I don't know anybody that's got ice skates, but you just get out there in your boots and you slide around. That can be kind of fun, but you just got to know how frozen is the pond, because and there's ways to test that. You toss the cinder block out there, and if that thing don't break, you're probably okay. But you start hearing it crack, buddy, you better know how to swim in cold water. So there is some of that. Hot chocolate making and hot chocolate drinking is one of my favorite pastimes in the snow where I live, or in the cold weather. And Cheryl Grubb's still making hot cider down at Donut Goes, and I ain't mad at that. So I do a lot of that. For work, I've been doing the odds and ends, helping out with the burger shed, helping out at the nursing home, helping out at Donut Goes. It's a lot of cleaning stuff, picking things up, putting things away, for my clients, my lawn mowing clients that, they need storage stuff, and putting away boxes in their garages and their Christmas decorations and all that kind of thing. So that's it. And Leanne says, keep shining with your good, clean humor. Well, thanks, Leanne. And finally, y'all guys, I feel like I blowed through it, but we wrapping up here. This is the last question of the Season 8, Episode 16 Q&A podcast. David McDaniel sent this one in just under the wire. How did you and Brent Reeves meet, and have y'all ever hunted together? That's a good question. Now, Brent Reeves, if you he helped me with the Christmas podcast. Last two seasons, last two Christmases, he helped me with the Christmas podcast. And he's a buddy of mine. I guess I met him in person when I was a guest on Clay Newcomb, and his podcast called the Bear Grease Podcast. That's an outdoor hunting podcast, storytelling podcast too. So Clay and Brent are buddies. I knowed Clay first, and then I met Brent, and then we was on an episode of the Bear Grease Podcast together, and so that's how we met. Have we ever hunted together? No, we have not. Do I want to go hunting with Brent Reeves? Yes, I do. You know, and like I got my pro fishing buddy, Cliff Pace. You know, sometimes I got to invite myself, like they might forget to invite me when they go out and do their things. So I may need to send an invite to Brent Reeves. Or, you know, if y'all guys are on Instagram, you can, you know, just comment to Brent, hey, when are you taking Tavin hunting? And y'all can help me out that way. But Brent Reeves is, yeah, he's a good buddy, and he's a good hunter. And he's got his own podcast, too, on the same feed as the Bear Grease Podcast, which is called This Country Life, and he do that every Friday. So you can check out Brent, and as you become friends with him in the podcast world, you can say, hey, what are you waiting for? When you taking Tavin hunting kind of thing. And hey, this may be my year to get out there in the woods with my buddies and do some hunting. Should be a hoot of a time. Speaking of hoots of times, y'all guys, we're going to have to wrap up this episode of the podcast, which is a little bigger this time because it do wrap up this season of the podcast, the Tavin Dillard Podcast. Thank y'all guys for being out here, you know, well, wherever you are. Maybe you out here like at Rickard's grocery store, or maybe you out on the farm, or maybe you out for a walk, or maybe you dropping the kids off, you know, at the soccer game, or the winter mutton busting event. I don't know, but thank y'all guys for joining me on this. And hey, if you ain't had to get your nubby nails into the scalp of Rachel Christine this week and wash her hair, I'd say you having a pretty good week. Till next time, y'all guys, this is a Tavin Dillard Podcast. I'm Tavin Dillard. Y'all keep them questions coming. Well, wait a little while. Wait till I'll start announcing it again. It'll be a few months. So just keep listening, sharing the podcast, check them show notes, and we'll see you soon.